Yeah. Awesome. So how was your week, John?
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Outstanding. A lot of things coming together.
That's good, I guess. Right?
We had a couple of lives and got some good responses from it. And I'm excited about it.
Yeah, and the group is still growing. That's awesome, right? I mean, more people are coming in, and that's great. For now, I think it's most people you and I know personally as well. So that's cool, of course. Very glad that these guys are here. And yeah, spread the word, I'd say, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So today, in this second episode of the podcast, I'm thinking I've made this great, awesome intro, and I keep forgetting to play that. That's fucked up. But well, if you look the rewind, then I'll be there. But for next time, I'll put it on my to-do list. So this week, I've been thinking a lot about, also for my own things that are going on. How is it that we are who we are, that we not only are, as in who am I, but also how come where I am right now, right? The things that I do or don't do, the things that I want to have but not have yet, right? How does that all work? And that's inner work, right? So we really have to dive deep into the inner work of what you want. You can work hard, but working hard isn't the same as being successful, right? There are a lot of people that are working hard, very, very hard every day that don't see themselves as really being successful, whatever that means to you, right?
That's really where mindset comes from. Success is not only financial. Okay, but if you want to build the financial, you got to have that. You got to have the foundation, the personal foundation. You got to do the deep work on yourself. And we all have. We talked about this a little bit last week. This week, we'll get into a little bit deeper. I hope we all have that deep place inside us where we hold all of the fears and the embarrassment and the shame and the bullshit in your belief system, and it comes from repetition. This is how the brain learns. If you see my video earlier this week, you know how I got into, I know my name is John, but how do I know my name is John? It's not because my parents put it on my birth certificate. That's not why I know my name is John. I know my name because ever since I was born, people have constantly been referring to me as John, and my parents used my middle name. I knew I was in trouble. But it was constant repetition. The first steps I took, the first time I held a bottle, the first time I spoke a word, the first time I crawled, whatever it was, everybody said, John, John, John. And it's from hearing it over and over again that I began to identify with John. That's why I know my name. It's the same process. This is the same way the brain learns everything, good things and bad things, how to write, how to read, how to count, how to ride a bicycle. And it's also how your brain learns the bullshit. You can't do that. Who are you?
No, that's right. And I think it's important to understand that there are two things. You have your brain, right? That's like the organ that's doing the things, right? We don't know all about what the brain really all can do. But within the brain, we often call our mind, right? And I think it's more than just your brain. Your mind is more than your brain, because your body has rituals as habits as well, right? Built-in habits that you don't even know you're doing. And of course, the brain is the center that's like controlling all that. But in your mind, you're doing those kind of things. And it's important to understand that there are two types of minds, right? You have your conscious mind and you have your subconscious mind. But when you're a kid, the conscious, specifically if you're like a baby or like a toddler, right? The conscious mind isn't really like the dominating part of it. But the conscious mind is that part that makes us human, right? That makes us able to do more than just having our senses and act upon our senses. But still, we often see that the things we do every day come from habitual rituals we have built in that come from what we've learned, right?
Habits and patterns.
Those patterns, right? And those were put in by our parents, by our school teachers, by our kids at school or in the neighborhood or whatever it was. All those input that you got with your sensors, smell, touch, feel, all those kind of things, that kind of created your inside your subconscious mind, these belief systems, or which I love to call them our BS. Right. And the belief systems can be good, right? They brought you so far as where you are right now. I mean, they did great job. It has a function there, but it also creates the habits you're doing every single day. And what you see, at least what I see a lot of with people that I work with, and have worked with in the past, that's why change is so hard, because we can think that, I know how things work. I know that. I don't know, if I looked at myself when I started with my journey, so to say, with the dating scene, right? So I knew how those things worked, but applying them from out of me, that wasn't a lot of story. Because it's not only about what you think and what you can know or what you can learn, like educate yourself, that's where it starts. But if you don't know how to apply it from out of these habits, from out of this subconscious mind, nothing's going to change, because that will lead you go back to what you've been doing all years long, right? Exactly.
It's that subconscious mind where all of this stuff is burned into your memory and into. This is why you don't have to think about how your route to work every day. You're making a turn here, you're going straight for 15 miles, you're making a right-hand turn. You don't have to think about it until that roadway is blocked for some reason. You have to consciously think about a different route to get to work. Well, what we're doing is these habits, every habit that you have, good or bad, has been there to serve a purpose. It has been there to serve you, but some of them are no longer serving you. And this is the key. This is the part that's going to push you outside your comfort zone, because you have to consciously repeat to yourself the new instructions.
Yeah.
So that your subconscious mind says, wait a minute, these are different instructions. Now, what is it you want me to do? And your brain starts to pay attention. Your subconscious mind starts to pay attention, and you learn. And after a while, this new pattern replaces the old one. It's a computer. You can overwrite the software. You can upgrade the software. That's what this is about.
Yeah, exactly. And that's so powerful. And what I see with this is so foundational. This is like with everything. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's your career, your love life, your finances, it really does not matter what it is. Whatever you've been creating right now, what you've created in your life, how you do your life every day, that comes from these belief systems. And if you want to change anything, that's where it needs to start. And the repetition part is a very big deal there, right? That's why affirmations and things like that work so well. Writing things down, because you program your mind from putting it in a habitual thing, like you keep repeating to yourself, I'm good enough, I'm good enough, I'm good enough, right? Or I'm grateful for finding the love of my life, whatever it is. And to really use also use kind of like the hacking the subconscious mind there. Because what's interesting, what I really find fascinating, is that the conscious mind does not know the difference between what's real and what's not.
It's not real.
Just done, right? The only thing where it's acting is the present, because whatever you're feeding it with, right, your thoughts, then are being presented from the past, or it's a picture from the future, or it's a picture of your current, bank statement, right? That shows you what you create. That's how you feel, and that is what's being fed to the subconscious mind. But that does not know the difference between if you're remembering something from yesterday, which makes you sad, or see something in your mind's eye for the future, what you want. want, right? And that makes you, and what the coolest thing is, that makes you focus on the things that you're thinking about.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And once you start focusing, I mean, we all know this, right? If you're thinking about buying a new car and you think, well, I want to buy a Ford Mustang, all of a sudden the whole world drives Ford Mustangs, right?
It's everywhere because you focused on it.
Yeah, you see what you focus on. And I love doing this exercise. It's a little small exercise. John, you got a good background for this. So guys, when you're looking at the picture of John, count the numbers of things you see that are black. Okay, so done. Close your eyes and tell me all the things that are white. You don't know because you weren't focused on white, you were focused on black. So whatever you programmed in your mind saying this is what you're looking for, that's what you see. That's what you recognize. So that's why affirmations work so good, because you keep repeating and focusing on these specific things that you want.
Absolutely. When I'm going back 30 years, maybe. When I was in college and I was studying computer programming, I remember one of my instructors told me that a computer is the dumbest machine that has ever been invented because it does exactly what you tell it to do. And if it's doing something other than what you want it to do, it's because it was programmed wrong. If you're in a place where if you want to be someplace other than where you are, there's programming that needs to change. And affirmations is part of it, but gratitude is part of it, but there's a real science behind this. Now think about this for a minute. Something happens. Pick something. Something happens and you say, why me? Turn it around. How can you reframe this and say, why not me? Who else is better able to handle this than me? If you put it in a different frame of reference, you put it in a different focus, change the meaning, change the experience, right? We've talked about this before. Why not me? Who else is better able to handle this problem than me? I got this. I'm better. I can do this. I got this. And you come from a place of empowerment right out of the gate. If you start off with, oh, God, why me? Why again? You're coming from a negative. You're going to focus on something that's wrong. You're going to feel wrong. It's going to end up being a miserable experience. It's going to come out wrong.
Exactly.
Change the focus. Change the meaning. Something happened to you years ago in your life. You're still hanging on to it. And I was guilty of this for a long time. You know,
we all were, I guess. Yeah.
All kinds of stuff. And I had to reframe it. You know, when I was a kid, I was the skinny one. I was the little kid. I was the 98-pound weakling who got beat up all the time. It's the truth. Okay. But I survived it. It affected me for years. It affected me, but I survived it. And what happened is I finally realized once I started diving deep into myself, it made me stronger. It made me more tolerant. It gave me a hell of a lot more empathy for other people who were being bullied. And I love to work with kids who are being bullied, and I love to work with the bullies, you know, because I can change the focus because I did it and I know how to help you do it. So when you change the focus, yes, it sucked going through it, but there was a benefit from it. Yeah. Find the benefit. Look for the positive that came out of it. You're stronger because of whatever it is that you went through. You know?
Yeah, and I think it's good to realize that whatever happened to you and made you who you are today is making you the most unique person that there is in the world, right? So we all have these qualities and strengths and talents that are coming out from from your genetics are, right? I mean, you're kind of like just a product of your parents' genetics and the things that's been told to you over and over and over again, right? Mm-hmm. And from that set of things has created the most unique person in the world. There is no one and will never be and has never been someone who is exactly like you, John, or like me, or any of the people who are watching. And when you start comparing that to others, like I want to be like that, or I want to be more like this, or he is so cool, why am I not so cool? That's like the apple's thinking why he isn't a banana, right? That doesn't make any sense. As an apple, you're perfect. You're exactly who you are supposed to be. And we need to go really from out that belief system that whatever it is that you are is good as the foundational thing. That's just how it is. And if you're not getting the results you want, then that is something you need to change in these beliefs, right? There, you were there yesterday, right? With this event of Tony Robbins. Awesome. I love that guy. He is so to the point and he knows exactly what to say in every situation, right? If I would be one day like him. But, you know, one thing that really stood out for me, what he said is like, everyone is his beliefs and values. That's like everything where anything comes from. Right. When you're struggling in any situation, it comes down to your belief systems and what are your values. And if you change these belief systems, then you can change. It's not enough to just know, because I know, you know, what bad is for my health. I know that I should work out more. I know I should not smoke, right? There are a lot of things I know, but my belief system says, well, that's not that important, or I'm fine who we are right now, so let's just not change it. So really change the belief system, that like paradigm of who you are. That's why I love this word paradigm shift. When you really can make this paradigm shift within you, that's the moment you really start to change. And that cannot be happening in 2 weeks, not 3 weeks. That needs repetition, that needs ingraining in being focused on what are the thoughts you're feeding yourself instead of are you reacting to the world around you.
And this is where you have to be consciously aware of your thoughts in the moment. You have to be present in the moment, every moment. It is a hard thing to do because you're going to get distracted. Okay. And it's just part of being human. It's okay. Okay. But before you say something, before you do something, are you capable of pulling yourself out of it and really looking at a wider picture here? Yeah. Is saying this or doing this going to help me get to where I want to be? Can you pull yourself out of the equation in the moment and really expand on the thought here? Now, Maurice, you had mentioned beliefs and values. I want to touch on the values because if we can understand the values, then it's easier to change the beliefs. Get rid of the bullshit in your belief system because it comes from values. And where did your values come from? Your values were instilled in you more than likely by your parents. Yeah. And those values came from their parents and their parents. And how many generations back do you have to go? When's the last time, guys, if you're listening, if you're watching, when's the last time you put pen to paper and wrote down your own values? You're allowed to change them. There's no law that says you can't. You know, the things that were important to your parents in the 50s and the 60s may not be important right now. There may be something else that's more important to you. So when did you write it down? And don't forget, there's two kinds of values. The values you want, things you want more of, the things you want to move away from. We talked about that last week as well. Okay? So write down the values. Write down the things that are important to you. What do you value? I think I don't remember if it was last week or if it was my video this past week that I touched on this. If you're somebody who values adventure, you're not going to be sitting at home on a Saturday afternoon watching bowling or fishing on television. No, and if you're somebody who values safety and security, you're not going skydiving.
John, just a second. I'm getting a message that there is no audio on the show.
Really?
So I'm going to go into the live right now. All right, everyone. If everything is going as we think it should be going, then you should be able to hear us right now. Let me check if everything is working here. Hear us right now. Yes, I hear it. So, sorry, guys. We were 25 minutes into the show, and all of a sudden there was a problem with the sound. I changed something in the back end with the whole, nice view and things like that. But, somehow I didn't get the audio connected. Sorry for that. But in the replay, it will be all like recorded and there, so we can really dive in there as well. So we'll just continue, John, with the thought train we were in. And if you guys want to catch up, you can watch the episode later today when it's coming online from the other side. But I have to re-record it, or the recording that we're doing, I have to re-upload it, so it might take a little bit. Later today, I'll be there. Just stay put in the group, and we'll get there. It's the growing pains of starting a new venture like this and doing a video podcast like that. And yeah, so thanks for being here, and thanks for letting us know that it didn't work out as in the live, but here we are. So in short, what we were talking, John, belief systems are created by the fact that, you know, they're being fed as a child. You grow up hearing your name is John. Don't do this, John. Eat your dinner, John. That's how you learn your name, right? Repetition, repetition, repetition. And everything that you learned as a kid came into that as your thought patterns and created in your subconscious mind your belief systems. This is the truth. This is how the truth is. And like you got experiences from your parents or your peers, your friends, things like that, right? Your teachers. And it all came down to who you are. And then you became a teenager and you started to implementing things like that. You started pushing the limits a little bit, right? So that's how you really find in, okay, this is then my truth, or the truth as you see it.
As you see it, yes.
Which might not help you anymore when you're 35 or 40 or 50 or whatever you are, right? There are maybe beliefs in your system, in your subconscious mind, that are blocking you from getting where you want. And it can be as simple as stop smoking or losing weight, but it can also be more like, I want to change my career, I want to earn more money, whatever it is, right? All these beliefs we have around things are being actually coming from the past, who you were. And that's pretty much where we took off. And then you said, well, it's belief systems and it's values. So, John, yeah.
Back into the value thing. The values, I'll try to speed it up a little bit. But the values that you have were given to you by your parents. They got their values from their parents and all the way back, right? But the values that you got, the values that you have, do you even know really what your values are? When's the last time you put pen to paper and figured out what your values are? And the reason I want you to do this is a good exercise. If you want to do this, is a very smart thing to do, because you get to change your values. The values that your parents had or needed in the 50s and 60s or whatever, or 70s, however old you are, may not be serving you anymore. And not for anything to do with their values. And they didn't do anything wrong by giving you values, but they may not be serving you. Those values may not be serving you, and you're allowed to change your values. When's the last time anybody told you that you're allowed to make up your own mind? You're allowed to change your mind.
Yeah.
Okay. So write down what's important to you. Write it down on a piece of paper. Seriously, something happens in the brain when you write down, because you're engaging your brain. Your brain has to think about it. You have to physically write it on a piece of paper. Okay, I'm Italian, so I write in the air. I talk with my hands all the time. But you have to think about what it is you're doing. You're writing, then read it. Say it out loud. Now your brain's going to hear it. It's repetition. It's the same way. This is how you instill your new values into your own mind.
Yeah.
And why is it important to you? Why does this value mean something to you? Write that down too. Don't be afraid to break. To break away from the values that you think were serving you, because sometimes things don't serve you anymore.
Yeah.
You were upset, you were angry about this. This happened 20 years ago, and you're still hanging on to the anger. Is it serving you anymore? You can't. Look, we're coaches. Okay, we're not therapists, we're not counselors. We're not going to go back to when this event happened and figure out how it affected you, but we're going to take you from here, where you are right now, try to reframe what it was that you were thinking and move forward. You can't do anything about the past, but you can have now.
Yeah, the now is the only thing that really is where things happening, right? So that's for sure. And I really like what you're saying, that it's the values that change, come from the past. And I mean, how often do you think about your values, right? So writing them down and really go deep with it, right? Don't in 5 minutes write 6 things down. Okay, so I value love, I value family, I value money. No, what is really the most important thing for you? And specifically if it's a thing which, you want to change in your life, if you really want to change your career and you're thinking, for example, starting your own business, what are your values and your beliefs around that principle? Is it, well, if you're an entrepreneur, you need to work 60 hours a day or a week. A day would be a lot, but in a week. Entrepreneurs struggle with money. Entrepreneurs have freedom. What is it that you think, about this concept? And the change, namely from where you are to where you want to be, has to happen in the filter through your brain, in your mind, from your conscious mind to your subconscious mind. And once you make that change into your subconscious mind, that you can change that, like this fixed paradigm of who you think you are and what you should do, that's where your habits come from. That's how you create things. That's how you take action, right? You take your action and like I said, I know that certain types of food are bad for me. So if I know, then why do I still eat them? Well, they're all biological things you can imagine, but it also happens in my mind, which my old paradigm, my old truth said, well, this is what you do. So you don't change that. So that you can only change that once you make that shift into your subconscious mind, because then you can start taking actions that are aligned with that. And otherwise you won't.
Yeah, absolutely right. And we can take it a step deeper as well. I'm a big Tony Robbins fan as well. And something I learned from him, which I've actually been able to put into practice here. There are 6 human needs that everybody on this planet has.
Yeah.
And certainty, you want to know that this roof is going to stay over my head, or I wouldn't be sitting under here right now if I wasn't sure this roof was going to hang. You want uncertainty, also known as variety. Variety is the spice of life. If everything was the same all the time, we'd be bored to death. So you need to mix it up once in a while. So you need certainty and uncertainty. You need significance. Everybody needs to feel important to somebody somehow, whether it's somebody in your workplace, your children, your wife, your girlfriend. Everybody needs to feel significant. Everybody needs that to be important to somebody else. Love and connection. And this is a whole subject unto itself, love and connection, because you can love your parents, you can love your wife, it's a different kind of love. You love your children, it's a different kind of love. So we can have that conversation. That's a whole day and a half. So certainty, uncertainty, significance, love and connection. Those are the 4 physical needs that everybody has. But there's 2 others, spiritual needs, growth and contribution. When you write down that list of values, you put those 6 human needs next to each one of those values. And when you figure out which one really matches, then you have your highest value, your first value. This is what's most important to me in my life. The one that matches up with that fulfills those 6 needs, or 4 or 5, whichever one fulfills the most number of those 6 needs, that's your primary value. Then you can do the second, then you can do the third. And not only can you figure out what you truly value, but you actually put them in order of significance, in order of importance. You want to talk about being empowered and ready to take on the world? Once you know that this is what I want, and this is what I need, and this is why I need it, game over. You got this. You got this.
Yeah.
Too many people don't do this. It's a simple exercise, and it is a complete game changer.
Absolutely.
Change everything.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And if you combine these elements, right? So your belief systems, your values, and these 6 core needs, human needs, right? Yeah. If you really focus on that and just like sit down, take a moment quietly where you're at, right? Doesn't have to be now, but early in the morning, or sometime where you really can be focused and think about these things and write it down. Exactly. Writing things down is for me was one of the things that I've, it helped me in so many things. Not only writing things like this down, but it's the combination of writing it down and thinking about things. That's why I love journaling. Journaling has nothing to do with, dear diary, today this guy went. No, it's like you write down what you want to write down, what happened in the day, what your feelings were, what you're thinking about, what your worries are, what your dreams of your future are. You can just take 15 minutes or half an hour if you want, and just write it down. You connect your brain into your hands, and things will flow out of you, and it gives you a far better way of taking a look at how things actually are for you. So yeah, take the time to combine these three. So yeah, John, anything to add, or are we good?
No, what's really interesting is that, we talked about the bullshit in your belief system, right? There's things that you just habitually learned that have held you back. And, we can really get into this with our viewers. And I'm really excited about doing that too. I'm really looking forward to doing that too. But when you do this exercise with the values and you apply the 6 human needs to it, and you write this stuff down and you read it, the bullshit in your belief system becomes blatantly obvious. You don't have to figure out where it came from. All of a sudden, it's right there. How did I believe this bullshit for so long? Yeah. How did I let this happen? Yeah. And now you know what it is that has to change. Now, right now, in the moment, when it's raw, when it's real, when it's uncomfortable. Yeah. Because if you don't, once you figure it out, if you don't deal with it right then and there at that moment, you're going to bury it for another 10 years before you're ready, 5 years, 10 years before you're ready to deal with it again. And it's just wasted time.
Yeah. That's exactly. Because that's what I want to say. When you're doing these exercises, and it has to do with so many exercises, remember that your mind, your conscious and your subconscious mind, are watching over your shoulder, right? So whatever you're writing down, it could be that moment, this inner voice starts talking, that, yeah, but it's not that bad. Come on, what are you thinking? Are you're writing now? Come on, dude, that's not you, right? There's this little devil on your shoulder that's trying to keep you from changing. That's want to keep you where you are. That's the function of this paradigm that you have inside you. So you need to be aware of that little voice. And that's what you, John, said as well. When you become aware of your thoughts, that's the moment you can make that change, right? If you're not aware of what you're thinking, nothing changes because you're just thinking on the autopilot. So be aware of the thoughts you have. And the moment you can do that, then you can dissect and see, okay, why am I thinking this? What's happening? Well, it's what I see around me, right? I'm not happy in my job, so that's what I see. So that's the truth. That is how it is. Yeah, but it's a thought based on something you see, feel, hear, smell, or touch. It has nothing to do with being it true or not. And it's something you can imagine to be different. Well, then use the power of your subconscious mind. Doesn't know the difference between what's real and not, right? So, but you can only do these things, all these practices that we said, these exercises, once you start being aware of your thoughts. And that is, I think, one of the biggest messages of today. Be aware of what you're thinking. When you wake up in the morning, the first thing you'll do is start thinking. What are the thoughts you're thinking? And are you happy with the thoughts? Right?
Yeah. Say right there on a piece of paper at night before you go to sleep. Just write down 2 words. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good start.
You wake up, you pick up that piece of paper from the nightstand, and you say thank you. Thank you for what? Thank you for another day. Thank you for a new morning, a new chance to start over. This is the little baby steps that it takes to start that wheel turning. What else is possible?
I actually have an app on my phone that you can program to send you messages throughout the day. And those messages can be your own messages that you want to show, just as like a sort of an affirmation. And what I do is every morning, I let it send me a message like early in the morning. So when I wake up and I watch my phone, because that's like 99% of the world who's doing that, right? Including me, you'll take up your phone and this message says, you're worth it. And that's the first thing you see in the morning. So that's a whole lot better than some bullshit social media, the news. Right?
Download an app. You can set the alarm on the phone. Your alarm has a message, doctor's appointment, 2:00. Well, you can set it on at 5:00 in the morning. Good morning. You're worth it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I love using these techniques. I got my whole home here with smart home systems from Google and things like that. And it's keep telling me all day long how great I am and the things I have to remember, things like that.
So that's the repetition that we're talking about. It's the constant reinforcement. And this is what it takes, guys, to break that cycle that you've been stuck in that has kept you where you are and getting to where you want to be.
Yeah.
All right. Exactly. It's repetition. It's learning. It's getting outside that comfort zone. And Maurice was right. This little devil on your shoulder is going to pull you back. What are you writing this stuff down now? Yeah. You're reprogramming your brain, and you tell your brain this is the way it's going to be from now on. You made the decision. That's the conscious decision. And the repetition in time will get into the subconscious mind, and it'll be just as normal as waking up in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. So this was great again. Sorry for the interruption, but if you want to watch the first part, you got to wait a couple of minutes, and I'll upload it later on, and you can watch the first part, which really set up what we've just been talking about and where we come from. So thanks so much for being here again. Share the wisdom, share the truths, and share the podcast, right? So if you know other guys, you just invite them to the group, and we'll happily to invite them here as well, of course. So, and again, if you got any feedback, if you got anything to say, don't be a stranger. We love to hear what you're thinking about the things that we talk about, and what your experiences are. So thank you so much for that as well. Jeff, thank you so much for contributing to the show with your comments and the ideas you have. Awesome. We'll try as well also in future episodes to be more interactive with that, but it's all new for us as well, so we got to learn as well. So thanks again
together, and it's a beautiful thing, guys. Thank you. We will see you all next week.
Absolutely.
Keep your eyes on our page, because we do put videos out there, and the people who are contributing to our page, you're making it stronger and making it better, and we really appreciate it. Thank you for supporting us, and we will continue to support you.
Absolutely. Thank you, and bye-bye.
Good night, guys. Bye-bye.